journey, you know.
Okay.
So
So I look at you or look at the...
yeah, we could just talk.
Okay.
So my name's Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. I'm Pat.
Good to meet you.
You too.
Yeah. So what's your take on life after death?
Meaning, is there...
As far as yeah, because not everyone believes that. There is anything.
Well, yes,
so.
I do believe there's life after death. I grew up as Catholic. I've kind of, maybe I should say, fallen off the wagon a little bit as far as Catholicism, but I still believe some of the basic tenets. And I do believe what we do here on Earth, how you treat others and how you live your life makes a difference in the afterlife.
Mm-hmm. Would you say you believe in God as like the Catholic God or the God of the Bible kind of thing? Or?
I believe in a God in general. I would say I've become more non-denominational.
Universal, as in not necessarily the Christian God, but like a creator God of
Yes,
all
that'd be more accurate.
religions.
Yeah. I believe each religion has an interpretation of what God is, and I think they're all equally
valid,
valid or believable, viable, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And was there a certain point where you kind of, because Catholicism, and so I'm not Catholic, but I'm Christian,
Okay.
basically says, that, the Christian faith is the only way, or the Catholic Christian
True.
faith,
Right.
And
that's
so,
actually where I diverged. I
Yeah.
finally realized I had to be accepting to people who had other beliefs that truthfully were very similar to mine, but because of a different upbringing, they had a different religion they followed.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day that we all have the same end point as
Yeah.
far as religions. We're all trying to do the right thing,
Yeah.
be good people, and I think each religion has those basic foundations that we should all be following.
So it would be kind of like exposure to other religions, like people that you know personally, or
Yes,
just
actually that was exactly it. I was in the military for a whole career, and we moved around a lot, and predominantly Christian environments, but
yeah,
got exposed to other religions, and very good, pious people that were brought up completely separate from Christianity, yet they still had the basic fundamental goodness inside them. So I realized that it transcends just Christianity. So
I know I went on a short-term missions trip to Africa.
Oh, yeah.
And saw a lot, there. But we stopped in Cairo, and that's where it really hit me, was that there is a lot of people in this world that don't believe what I believe.
Yeah.
And I remember driving by miles of these army barracks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it was so long. I don't know if they were stretched along the road, but and they were all Muslim, and that's, for some reason at that point I was like, wow, how am I going to reconcile my Christian faith with the fact that there are other beliefs out there?
Yeah.
And that was a long time ago. That I was just out of high school, and since then the internet gives us more exposure.
True. Yeah.
And then as I've run this question by different people, I've come across we are an immigrant nation. I mean, we there are, and then there's a lot of international students that I've run into, and so I have had to kind of reconcile all the different people I've met personally, as well as just what I know to be true, is that a lot of people don't have exposure to the Christian faith, and I think I've I would say that Christianity is very unique. Like most religions teach that they're like what you're saying is just be a good person and it'll all come out good in the end, I mean, most religions teach that somehow, like their version. Would you say you believe in heaven and hell and that sort of thing, or what do you think?
I'd say at this point in my life, I believe there's a heaven. I don't know if there's necessarily a hell. I think it's
Yeah.
you rewarded. I don't think you're necessarily punished though in the afterlife for something you did here, but I think there's more after this if you've been a good person.
Yeah. Do you feel like most people are good people? Or all people are like should all people be rewarded somehow, or
Oh,
you know
not
what I
all.
mean?
No, I do not think all people should be rewarded.
Yeah.
I think, and no, I don't think all people are necessarily. I think all people have the potential to be good, but I think, no, I think some people are not necessarily going to be rewarded in the afterlife.
Yeah.
I think there's a choice everyone has though to be good, and some people either through lack of effort or consciously make a choice to not be good.
Yeah, yeah,
But if you're asking overall, I would say generally I think most people are. They
Yeah.
want to be good and they strive to be good people.
and we're all like dealt a different hand, you know.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we all start out in different places, and there is the line of thinking that like our society makes us do the things we do, you know. I'm actually a high school teacher, inner city Chicago, so like
What school?
it's backyards. It's called Second Chance.
Okay, all right.
So it's like an alternative high school. So kids that have, for one reason or another, not made it in a regular high school,
Yeah.
they end up with us.
Okay.
And
My
so
nephew
I
teaches
deal-
at Whitney Young. That's
Oh,
that's why I'm
okay.
asking. I'm just curious because he's inner city as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's one of the better schools in Illinois.
Yeah.
So he's getting the cream of the crop, and we're getting the
Yeah. Yeah.
kids that, well, I don't want to say they're the bottom of the barrel, but
Right.
they're. I definitely see I see the good in them despite the circumstances that they're growing up in, and I realize that our environment does shape us a lot, you know. But at the same time, we do make moral choices in the midst of that, and so as a Christian, I would say, like how have I reconciled the idea that there's unfair people grow up in unequal circumstances, and some people so as a Christian have no exposure to Christianity, like they don't even have not heard of the Ten Commandments or heard of Jesus Christ,
Right,
Like
yeah.
I've talked to international students who like from China that can barely speak English, and they really have not even heard of the gospel or the Christian much. Of course they've seen a cross, and they see it from the outside, but they don't really know what it's all about and that sort of thing. And the one thing that I do find that's universal, and I do believe this, is that and Christianity teaches this, is that everybody has a conscience, as far as a moral conscience.
Yep.
There may be, like we may disagree about, exactly what's good and evil, but just the idea that there is good and evil,
Yeah.
that as I go through life, I'm making moral choices. And the other kind of universal thing is that universally everyone breaks their own moral conscience. Which makes me think it's something that comes from outside of us. It's not something we made up, because if we made it up, we'd follow it,
True. Yeah. Yeah.
And so the Bible teaches, like from the very beginning, Adam and Eve, like they were given the knowledge of good and evil. Like when they ate from the tree, it says their eyes were open and they knew good from evil.
Yeah.
And they then they realize we're naked. It's like
Right.
we're exposed. God has seen our sin. We're exposed. Our relationship with God is broken. We're gonna hide from Him. And so then the Bible says that everyone, it doesn't just say this. Everyone has a moral conscience. It says it later on in the Bible, like in Romans in the New Testament. But it talks about everyone. It's a God-given moral conscience, a knowledge of right and wrong.
Yeah.
And so there's this. And it doesn't matter if they're Christian or Buddhist or atheist or whatever, everyone knows right and wrong and breaks it. And the very fact that we come up with excuses for our behavior, you know, like Adam and Eve, the very first excuses is like, well, the woman, she made me do it. You know, and then she's like, well, but the snake, he made, you know, like we're always blaming someone else. And so standing before God, it would be like, we know right from wrong. They only had one rule: don't eat from that tree, right? And they broke it. Well, we know rules, we know right and wrong, and we do break it, you know. So we'd be equally guilty before God as they were. And doesn't seem like it was a big deal what they did, but it was still breaking God's rule. And so for us, it's still breaking God's rule, like whether we know Him as God or Allah or, you know.
That's kind of what that's what I believe, and of course it's a belief. It's I guess the two things that that concern me is when someone does not recognize. I mean, we're all imperfect, and we all do make mistakes, and do things wrong. But the people that don't accept that they've done something
don't take
wrong,
responsibility.
and people that don't really act in the best interest of the, treat others as you'd want to be treated, that really expect to be treated well yet don't treat other people well. That's probably the two basic things that I see that I try to live my life. It's like I try to be as accommodating to someone else as I would want them to be accommodating, or as understanding, as compassionate. And the people that don't do that, and the people that willfully really just go on their way with their life, not recognizing that what they're doing is morally, I don't say wrong, but morally weak, I guess, whatever. That brings up all the problems we have.
One thing
that's ironic, because you're sitting here, I'm looking at one
yeah.
person, I'm like,
one thing
like that guy.
One thing that's interesting is to say, if we think that we're one of the good guys, like we're on the right side of that moral divide. If there is some kind of punishment, whether it's hell or whether it's some kind of consequence, we're basically saying we're a better person than them, which is
true.
Which doesn't sound right. It sounds kind of but then again, I guess we don't really know who it, like, because people have different environments that they grow up in, and there may be more to the story than what we realize, about them.
I look at it like this. We don't know where that bar is set.
Right.
And we could be thinking we're doing all the greatest things ever, and very often people that are some preachers or people that are out there really professing the Word of God or whatever their God is, think they're doing the right thing all along. We don't know. We don't really know. It's all based on a belief, and when the end of our life is there, we may have been. We may be based on how hard we tried, or maybe how hard we were successful in being good people. But in either case, that's the great unknown. And the best you could do is just try to be as good of a person throughout your life, and we'll find out when we move on. We'll go, I guess I wasn't as good of a person. I love the show. What's it called now? The Good Place. I don't know if you've seen this show.
I haven't seen it.
It's about the afterlife. It's a comedy, but it has a lot of moral importance, because it's basically these people end up in this afterlife place, and it's all pleasant, everything's great, and what ends up is a couple people apparently may or may not have gotten to the wrong place. They're not actually good people. The good place is heaven. So it's just kind of gets into a lot of discussion about at what point do you need to be good. So, anyway, but I do need to get going though.
Hey,
I'm gonna meet some people in a bit. But it's
appreciate
good
it.
talking to
Would you like the blog?
I would. Yeah, actually.
Yeah. I usually have a card, but I don't have a card, so I'd have to write it down.
I have a pen.
Very good. I got
There's
something.
a piece of paper I just had. Looking for my books. It's falling apart, but it's got it there. And this is what it. What
So
is
it's just Everyday Club, all one word.
Uh-huh.
.blogspot.com.
Great.
And let me
Everyday
see if my
Club.
number's in here. Here's my number right there. Love to hear any reaction you have to it. This is a kind of a
Read
little
that. I can't
good
read
book.
that. It's too small.
Oh, you can have this.
Oh.
Use this book.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
This is your. Oh, I was going to say. This is Ray.
Yeah,
I thought you said you're in Jeff.
I
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't
okay.
write the book.
Okay.
But,
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All
The
right.
one. The one. Well, I know you got to get going, but yeah, I'll be glad to hear what you.
Sure.
You
Okay.
have to say about that.
All right, Jeff.
All right.
Good talking to you.
Good to meet
Thanks.
you, Pat.
All right.
All right. Take care.